Hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal, Edwards here speaking, out with the beautiful wisterias in the beautiful Sydney spring with my friend, Dee Hacking from Queensland. He's a health entrepreneur. How you doing, Dee?
Yay, fantastic here in North Queensland. Hello to Sydney. You look gorgeous there with your wisteria in the background, Edward.
Well, thank you. I was going to do the recording at home with PC Panda, but I just had to get outside because spring does not come by very often, doesn't it?
Not at all. And likewise, I was going to be outside. We've got rainforest out the back here of the window of my office here, and there's echidnas out at the moment. So I thought if I had you out in the rainforest to show everybody the echidnas, that'd be fantastic. But then it wasn't working. It's windy, and I thought, well, back inside with the great macrame here in the background. Why not?
Now, Dee, we were just talking a bit off camera before. You run multiple businesses. You're a successful global influencer in the health space. Dee, can you tell us in short how you help people become really successful in health and what you do?
Absolutely. So I've got quite a few tricks up my sleeve, Edward. As a health entrepreneur, I do run a few businesses, as you had suggested. I am the founder and owner of Bay Massage and Homeopathy Natural Therapies Clinics, for which I'm a homeopath in there, the doctor of homeopathy. But we also, I run Living Lovingly Transformational Coaching, and that's a coaching-based, business as well. Plus, I've got a couple of other businesses that are not health-related. So, having said that, we run retreats, health retreats, post-COVID, physical retreats. During COVID, we've been online, which has been fantastic. And now we're going into running a set of corporate retreats, which are coming up in November up here in North Queensland. So that will be to gain clarity and resetting the mind and lifestyle in the corporate sector. And so the way I help people is via appointment with me, if you like alternative medicine as well. So, and also I'm an author, so we have an upcoming book this year as well. Yay! So I help people in the the space of self-help, self-development, and getting into the cogs of the mind and to balance the lifestyle. So there's a little bit of functionality in all that. So that's what I do.
Oh, Dee, I love it. And you said the C word before being COVID, right?
Yeah.
And you being one of a high-end health professional, you would know it better than any of us do. How has COVID impacted the world of health of your clients and more?
Well, as you can imagine, there's a massive impact with what is going on in the world, and not only impacting on a global scale, local scale, but people's health and mental health, of course. So for those who have contracted, obviously, COVID, it's a terrible thing. And we obviously based in North Queensland at the moment, but we also have a house, and my husband's American, and we have family in Spokane, Washington. So the affected area, it's interesting to know that we're safe here in Queensland. Likewise, in Sydney, we also have a house in Melbourne and family in Melbourne as well. So sort of on a personal scale, to get to the nitty-gritty of what COVID is doing. Not only is the virus, propagating itself and affecting people's health, obviously, but for those in lockdown, there has been a tremendous change of pace where they're going in their family, personal relationships. It's quite difficult, believe it or not, to be stuck at home with the entire family. You've got all the little kids, and then you've got to be the teacher and your own personal health, you've got to go out in the sunshine. And so I think the area of affecting the mind has been particular. Also, from my point of view, being in the health space of physical patients, that certainly went to online patients via telehealth, etc., like Zoom, what we're doing now. That's been a major benefit to the patients, particularly because they can have a consultation. My consultations take anywhere from half an hour to an hour. And we live quite regionally. So previously, people were coming to the clinic, taking time out to travel back and forth. So now they can do what we're doing now, sit in the comfort of their own space, wherever that is for them. Especially if they're in, I've had a couple of clients actually in lockdown in Melbourne,
Wow.
in the hotel saying, oh my goodness, what do I do with my health? We don't want to go along the lines of orthodox medicine, for which I have studied as well. I think it's a good little, dovetailing together of what you're going to do alternatively in the space that you have, sort of functional medicine with what's around you. I've always got little tricks up my sleeves. You don't particularly have to have orthodox medicine or my medication. There's all the things you can do,
And just that, Dee, I love where you went for the moment. Like you said the M word, you said the word Melbourne, and for the sake of people around the world, whenever they're watching this video, Melbourne is one of these larger southern cities in Australia. And right now, as we do this video in late September, they're in extended lockdown. They've had an extreme lockdown and curfew, and a lot of people's health is deteriorating there. And I was just going to say, Dee, what do you say to someone who's locked in their home or locked in their hotel room? What do you say to them to work on their health right now?
Well, firstly, I like the little hashtag health is wealth. So health has got to come first. So firstly, it would be get your body moving. So my biggest tip to for anybody, whether you're in lockdown or not, it's really the same sort of principle, is if you're not moving 20 minutes to half an hour functionally per day, then you're not doing enough for your own health. Likewise, reading, personal development, with the online, there's YouTube, for example. There's so many resources you can access to feed your brain. So we have to feed our bodies as best we can, exercise, and then feed our brain. And that's what will ultimately have balance for you in your lifestyle and your body. So you will feel mentally better once you're exercising. Dopamine, all the happy drugs in the body that get released when you're exercising. And be conscious of your food intake. I think that has been an interesting concept. Oh, well, we home, we may as well, people know that humans are communicative people. So in groups, we function better in groups. So if you're isolated at home, and people have been on Zoom having wine parties and cheese and all very nice, but the excessive drinking, excessive fun food, and even I know people are eating really good food, steak and vegetables, but 3 times the quantity that they should be. So therefore, the exercise that they are doing, which is 20 minutes to half an hour, is probably not enough to maintain, normal body function. So interesting.
On that note, that's what happened to me, because I think, that's right, we were speaking off camera. We had in New South Wales, Sydney, being one of the largest cities in Australia, we had I think it's about a 10 to 12 week lockdown originally. And in that space of time, I controlled my food intake very poorly, right? Again, I wasn't exercising really because I'm locked in at home, and I wasn't controlling my food intake. And my health really left me. It was just amazing in just the space of 10 weeks how your health can deteriorate without regular exercise.
Yep, so quickly. And then with what comes along with that, as you know, Edward, is the sort of the self-bashing. The mental hijacking. Yeah, you go, oh my goodness. Oh, most people have scales in the house. Oh, my pants don't fit. Or I'm not feeling, I'm just tired all the time now, but I eat well, and I hop on the scales and there's 10 kilos. You think, oh, no. And then, oh my goodness, I can't go to the gym and I can't do that and I can't do that. Instead of focusing what you can do, so, okay, let's look at what we're eating functionally. Sugar intake, alcohol intake, fatty foods intake. It's very easy to go to a packet of Doritos because they're sitting there, aren't they? Yep. So one thing, if you're getting Coles online, which is an online ordering system of groceries, just don't order that stuff, because if it's not in the house then you can't eat it. So that's one, obviously, if it's not there, you're not going to eat it. But then concentrate, if you are concerned, health first. So exercise more, eat less. We all really know the rules, but we don't do it.
What I was going to say is what I did really badly during COVID, and I did this very poorly, was that I really engaged in comfort eating. How do you stop comfort eating? What are your tricks on that one, Awesome Dee?
I think you need to maintain the vision of what you're doing. So it's in alignment with the thought process. So if you're in the middle of comfort eating, just say, for example, your beautiful wife, Lassie, or yourself has, cooked you a fantastic meal and all the yummy things, and you've got a lot left over, say, for lunch tomorrow. So it's easy to then go, oh my goodness, there's so much leftovers. I'll have it for breakfast and lunch, and then have your usual breakfast as well. So just know that overindulging, I suppose, in anything is really not in alignment with the health as wealth principle. So it's focus on your vision. So if you have the vision of yourself, who does Edward Zia really want to, portray himself as, awesome influencer, and I want to be going to the gym and super fit, that sort of thing. Which, okay, in lockdown, we're not going to the gym, but what can you do around the house to still exercise? Cans of beans, and so many things that you can implement your gym strategy, which you would usually do at home. So that if you hold the vision of yourself, when you go to comfort eat, you'll look at your plate and go, oh, this is awesome, but that really is not in alignment with my long-term vision. So you're not comfortable in your clothes or whatever the issue is, and you're not heading in the right direction. Oh, I've put on weight, or whatever the issue is. I'm just not happy with myself. I'm so sluggish. Overindulging in comfort food, you get sluggish, don't you? You just go, oh well, I don't have to go anywhere. We'll stay in bed. Instead of getting up at 5, which we usually do, we'll stay at 8. And then you have yesterday's leftovers, Lassie's beautiful food, and then you can see it's a very quick cycle to get on. So hold your vision.
Yeah, I'm face palming right now, Dee, because I basically did all of the above. So I took Dee's "Don't do this" list, and I interpreted it as a check-off list. I did everything to the letter. And look, and I learned my lesson, as you know. In fact, I appreciate you gave, and just for everyone's sake, we had a good chat off camera. Dee and I were talking about intermittent fasting, and I want to report to you, Dee. Right now, I've been eating 2 meals a day for a week, and I tell you what, I feel fantastic on 2 meals a day. What are your thoughts on that? I know you agree with that, but just for the sake of our beautiful friends on camera, why can 2 meals a day be such a great thing? Like, why does it work so well for me?
Well, it's an interesting thing that what the body needs to survive is continued nourishment, and obviously water and sunshine. We as humans tend to overeat anyway.
Okay.
So ideally,
so overeating is a trait, is it? Okay, right. Human trait.
Human trait. We overeat for survival, let's say. So back in the cavemen days, they were probably eating every couple of days. So in the Eastern and the Western world, as far as to my knowledge, is 3 meals a day and a couple of snacks. So 7 odd vegetables, a bit of fruit, a bit of protein. That's what we have learned in nutrition wise as well. So balanced diet, that sort of thing. So if you were eating, let's say, every 3 hours eating something, that maintains a high metabolic rate. So the food that we actually need in our stomach is a lot less. So your 2 meals a day, and I'm sure they're portion controlled as well. What that does, it gives the body a break to balance and fix itself on a chemical level without having to digest food. So the first area of digestion is obviously the salivary glands of the mouth. So as soon as you start chewing on something, digestion kicks in. So it's a lot of body functions are going on with digestion. So if you gave your body a little break from constant digestion, the red meat can take up to 3 days to come through the body. So the more you eat red meat, it takes a long time to get the nutrients out of it and digested and to come through fully. So if you're intermittent fasting, or even a lot of pros and cons with juice fasting, for example, it's giving the body a little break from digestion and the major body functions for balance. So it's good for our mental health, good for our perspiration rate. You tend to sweat a little bit more when you're intermittent fasting. So you might notice when you are exercising while intermittent fasting, the perspiration will smell a little bit like vinegar. There's a little bit of ketosis happening. So.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, good. Because I'm doing a lot of ketosis right now.
There you go. So we have, fish and chips. Is it fish and chips? Oh, no, it's you, Edward.
Oh, ugh, gross, man. So, that's incredible, Dee. I love the advice that you've given me because it's been awesome. Now, I was going to ask you, Dee, because a lot of people around the world, especially at the time they're going to see this video, they're finishing up with lockdown, or they've left lockdown, or the end of lockdown's coming. Let's say someone's just finished lockdown, or the end of lockdown is near. What's your big advice to them to really get their health on track, assuming they made at least half the mistakes I did? What would you say to get them all healthy and vitality and sustainable again?
The first thing I would say is have a good plan. So if you don't aim for anything, you're never going to hit the target. So what is it that you would like to achieve with your health? We're talking about health at the moment. So just know that health comes into a few categories of, physical health, your physical well-being. So that's one category that needs to be addressed. So you've got exercise, you've got out in the sun, obviously get outside safely. And then you have, in regards to that, is your personal injuries. Everybody has some injury of some kind. So if you're going back to or reinstating your gym or your trail bike riding or whatever it is that you like to do the most with exercise, then definitely do that, but do it in a gentle pace so you're not going to go and exacerbate current injuries, that you may have been inactive for X amount of time, from 2 weeks to months people have been locked down for. So other than the physical health, knowing that humans are sociable type people, we're good in community. So I would say have a focus to reconnect physically with friends. So for example, like yourself in Sydney, call up a few of your friends and say, hey, let's go for coffee, So I think it's easy to, when you're going from a caged sort of environment to leashing out on the world, right, I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to, dive back into work and dive into the gym, and I'm not going to see anybody, or I'm going to go and see everybody and have wines and burgers and, have a plan of where you want to go. And then also mental health is really important. So I like to think about what would you have done as a child? So tell me, Ed, what was a few things that you liked to do as a child yourself?
Well, when I was a child, I used to love playing video games. I guess nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And I used to like going for walks, catching up with friends and video games. They're probably the three things, which ironically I still do today. Catch up with friends, video games.
Excellent. So what I would say is, in alignment with what you like to do more of that, because that's what ultimately makes you happy. So if you were to then catch up with friends, go out for walks, and plan to play your video game. Don't play 24 hours straight, obviously, but I'm talking about in a plan. So you've got your what Edward likes to do, you've got your health and lifestyle, and then your physical, what you're physically going to do. So have a plan for a balanced lifestyle. So first thing I would say is get a diary. It doesn't have to be a work diary, just any sort of diary, and then open the diary, of course, and just write in it each morning something you're grateful for and something that day that you're going to do for yourself that you like to do. So let's say today I can see, obviously, Edward's out in the beautiful sunshine and he's out for a walk. So therefore you've ticked those boxes already. Plan ahead.
I like it. So you plan activities based on your interests to increase your happiness and make it more sustainable.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh.
Absolutely, because if it's not sustainable, and if it's not fun, it won't be done. If you're not having fun doing things, a few people I speak to go, well, I don't like going to the gym. Well, don't go. There's so many other things you can organise for yourself. Exercise in the backyard. I think it was a gentleman years ago, I can't remember who he was, in Melbourne, and he had to, for his cardiac health, I believe, had to increase his outgoing exercise daily. And there was a lot of stoppers who, I can't do this, I can't do that, I've got nowhere to go, I look after my wife. And I think it was back in the 80s. So what he did was he said if he walked 80 times around the hills, the good old hills hoist in his concrete jungle, then he did that, and guess what happened in a few months' time? His cardiac health was, he had the body, he was 60-5 back then, and all of a sudden he had the cardiac health of a 20-year-old within a few months. So
wow.
never say never.
So your advice is buy a hoist and walk around it 80 times.
The good old hills hoist. Just go in circles in the backyard. That'll be fine. Yeah.
So all you should do is look at the website. Yeah, you need to become an affiliate of Hills Hoist. You sell Hills Hoist. It's the Dee Hacking cardiac plan. I like it. This is good.
And your yoga mat. Get your yoga mat out there. You do 50 laps and then 20 minutes of yoga stretching. Perfect.
Well, if anything, I'm actually lying down now, prone. So I'm almost in a yoga position. See? Very yoga-y. There you go.
Cobra. Edward's into the cobra. There you go.
Yeah. So I'm literally, actually, over my surface profile, I'm literally lying down in like a military prone position to speak to the awesome Dee Hacking.
Love it. Look at you with the gorgeous purple shirt and purple wisteria. I love your work.
Now, Dee, I love where you've gone. As we bring this legendary interview to its epic conclusion, and it's going to be seen thousands of times by winners across the world, what are some of your closing thoughts to give to our wonderful community globally?
My closing thoughts. I would say, everybody, it's time to, no matter what your position is in the world, what you're going through in these rough times, that it has been super hard for some people and not so for others. But don't take that into account. Know that you are your own self, and it's okay to feel your feelings. It's okay to think your thoughts, but know that if you have a plan and a vision for yourself moving forward, I would ask each and every one of you, thousands of people out there, where do you see yourself in 18 months to 2 years from now? What does your lifestyle look like? If you can't give me 5 things immediately, then I'd say you need to, get a little notebook and a pen, but back to the binary fashion. Just start writing down where you would like to go. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself living? What do you look like physically? Maybe something bright. Have a little plan for yourself, and then work towards that with daily steps. I think that is, whatever success looks like to you in your world, whether it be anything, emotional success, happiness. Really, in this world, what are we all really striving for? We just want to be happy, really, when it comes down to it. What are we doing? So even if you write 5 things down, that you would envision yourself in like a little speech bubble. Imagine a speech bubble coming out of my mouth here. This is me in 2 years from now. This is my little list of my happiness. Even that. If you've got a target to go towards, you will find life will be a little bit easier, or not necessarily less challenging, but more fruit will be growing on your tree. So plan, guys, and have a vision. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
Dee, absolutely legendary. And just before you go as well, how can people find you?
Well, I'm all over the place. I'm on Facebook. I am Dr. D, Health Entrepreneur, Living Lovingly, the Lifestyle Flippers. You can also find me on my website, www.livinglovinglylifestyleflippers.com. Also on LinkedIn, Dr. D Hacking, Health Entrepreneur. I'm on WhatsApp. Where else am I? I'm all over the place. Oh, and just very quickly, the new book. There it is. Little mock-up.
Yeah.
Yep. The book's being released this year. You can find that.
What date? Do you have a date yet?
On the website. That's my little mock-up of that. So it's Spruik it, Flip it, Do It. It's cultivating the willingness to back yourself to success.
Oof. And do you have a date yet? A release date?
No. But guess what? It's really... Yeah. So I had a bit of a technology failure, so I actually lost my manuscript. Oh, well. Anyway,
really?
Any good author Thank goodness my editor, my wonderful editor in Melbourne, Kat Betts, a little shout out to you. We're all back on track. And so end of November is what I would like to say. So not an exact date, but our publisher is Hay House and Balboa Press. So the good old Hay House, I'm very happy that they took me on board. Very happy to be associated with Hay House and, you know, Wayne Dyer's fame, I suppose. So it's coming this year. Very exciting.
Well, Dee, when you've got it, I'd be honoured to A, buy myself a copy, and B, share it everywhere.
Yay.
So I can't wait till it comes out.
That would be amazing. Thank you, Edward, and thank you everybody for having me today. Great to be here. I'm super excited.
It's a pleasure. Just want to say thank you again, Dee. Really appreciate you. And I know you're a very busy lady. And friends, you heard the Powerhouse lady. You've heard what she said. Get in contact with her. And Dee, last word to you, my friend.
You've got this, guys. Fun is the key. Thank you. Mwah. Much love.